Hey guys, welcome to another Quick Tip Tuesday here from JoyfulDVM. I'm Carrie Wise, veterinarian, certified life coach, founder of JoyfulDVM. And today on this Quick Tip Tuesday, I'm going to talk very briefly about that concept where our circumstances, the things that are happening around us, the people, what they say, what they do, our jobs, our living situation, all of that, those circumstances are not what's holding you back from pursuing what you want in your life. As I'm going through this, you guys can probably hear my dogs barking in the background. Perfect example of a circumstance. Completely neutral, not something I can control, but certainly something that before I understood the relationship between the things that happen and the way that I respond, something that I definitely could have used as an excuse not to continue this Facebook Live, quite honestly. I could have shut off the camera, I could have redone this, deleted the original post, and come back in because I would be believing that this would be decreasing the experience for those of you guys watching this video later. You may not even be able to hear it, quite honestly. I know that's true as well, but it's just a circumstance. It's just one little example of the things that happen around us that we believe influence whether or not we can pursue the things that we really want for our lives. It's just not the way that it works. The way that it works is this. There are things that happen in the world. There are things that people say, things that people do. There are jobs. There is dollar amount in the bank. There is debt. There is bills to pay. There are relationships. There are all of these things, right, in the world. And then there's you. And what you do with your life is decided only by what you believe about all the circumstances. All the things around you don't have the power to decide for you. None of them do. What we miss is that we create this connection between circumstances and circumstances. I can't live in a nice house because I work at this job. Job and house are two just circumstances, just factual things. One doesn't cause the other. It's what we believe about one that influences our actions that creates the reality of the other. It's not the one thing that we start with. It can be a little hard to wrap your head around. I don't know that I'm doing the greatest job of this, but I think I did a really good job explaining this point and sharing a really tangible example in this week's podcast episode. I told a story about these bluebirds that have been living on my back deck. And it's quite an interesting and comical story when I listen back to it because the drama involved there was all of my own doing. And it's a great example of how it's not the circumstances that create the results in our lives. It truly is the way that we think about it. Because this is why. Here's your quick tip. Here's what I really want you to take home. There are the circumstances of the world. Then you have thoughts about those circumstances. It is those thoughts that create the emotion that you feel. The circumstances do not ever create your emotion. Hear that again. The circumstances do not create your emotion. Your job doesn't make you unhappy. What your mother said to you didn't piss you off. What your best friend said didn't hurt your feelings. That's not how it works. The words, the job, the people, all just circumstances. And in between those circumstances and the way that you feel in those interactions are what you believe about the situation. It is that creates the emotion for you. This is so critical to understand because it is the emotion that drives action 100% of the time. So if you don't have what you want in your life, if you're not moving forward creating what you want for your future, it all comes back to what you're thinking about. If you can't get your mind in check to generate the emotion that's going to help you to take the action to drive your dream forward, your dream is always going to stay just a dream. It's all available to you immediately, but many of us take our circumstances and use those as excuses. We buy into the idea that because of this, we can't possibly that, and that is just totally untrue. So the take home here, there are circumstances. There are the thoughts that you have about those circumstances, good or bad. And those thoughts are always going to generate emotion for you. It is that emotion that drives you forward, either toward what you want or pulling you back from your life. You've got to get a handle on your thinking so you can get a handle on your emotion. You can't wait for somebody else to change. You can't wait for a circumstance to be different before you take back your power and you figure out how to enjoy your life in this moment. The circumstances don't create the way that you feel, I promise. Just think about that a little bit. Check out the podcast episode 11, joyfuldvm.com/11 for a very tangible example where I walk through my own mind drama and the emotion that it created for me. think it'll be really helpful so you can see this in action, then apply it to your own life and see what you can do. Everything is possible, my friends. I promise you that, but it all starts with you. All right, my friends, that's going to wrap it up for this Quick Tip Tuesday. I'll see you next week.